Once upon a time, before there were rules for the sun, moon, and stars, a childless sage and his wife were found performing a severe and long penance in a forest by the lakeside. The sage, Rishi Mrikandu, along with his wife Marudmati, were praying deeply to Lord Shiva to bless them with a son. Shiva, known to be the destroyer among the Hindu trinity of gods, comprising Lord Brahma and Lord Vishnu as well, was perhaps an obvious choice. He represented the entirety of the universe, the one who knows all. And as such, he was a being capable of destruction as well as resurrection. So keeping him in their thoughts, the sage and his wife continued their prayers. Lord Shiva was impressed by their faith and devotion and offered them a choice. They could either have an intelligent son, but with a short life, or have a son with low intelligence, but a very long life. After much deliberation, the sage and his wife chose the former. Intelligence, but for a short while only. After all, a sage would want a wise and knowledgeable child so that he could pass on his teachings to future generations. Thus, a son was bestowed upon them, an intelligent young boy who was quick to follow in his father's pious footsteps, but with only 12 years to live. They called him Markandeya. Markandeya soon learned all that his father taught him, and more. He was wise beyond his years and was far more mature than other boys of his age. He had gained mastery of most of the ancient Hindu texts and was willing to try and learn all of them from his father and other learned sages. The years went by, and Markandeya was about to turn 12 years old. However, he observed that instead of being happy and joyous, his parents became more and more disheartened as his birthday drew nearer. Unable to see his parents in any kind of distress, Markandeya finally asked them the reason for their sad faces. With heavy hearts, his parents revealed the truth of his life to him. Heartbroken that he could no longer learn any more ancient texts or gain more knowledge of Hinduism from other sages, he decided that the solution to his problem could be given by only one: Lord Shiva himself. Thus began Markandeya's own penance, to beg Lord Shiva for mercy on his life. Soon, Markandeya's 12th birthday arrived. He was still meditating deeply in front of the Shivling, a stone structure that represents Lord Shiva and to which all his devotees pray, when the Hindu god of death, Lord Yama's messengers arrived to take Rishi Markandeya with them. They observed he was too deep in a trance to summon him in front of death. Then Lord Yama himself appeared to take the child with him. But Rishi Markandeya surrendered himself to Lord Shiva by wrapping his arms around the Shivling. Determined to take the child away, Lord Yama brought out his noose, the instrument he used to take living beings away from the earth, and flung it at the child. The noose, however, fell on the Shivling by mistake. This deeply angered Lord Shiva, and he himself emerged from the Shivling and punished Lord Yama by killing him. It is for this reason that Lord Shiva is called Kalantaka, or the end of death. However, killing the god of death could disrupt the balance of the universe. And encouraged by the insistence of all the other gods, Lord Shiva brought Lord Yama back to life. But with one condition: that the boy could remain alive forever. Thus, a child meant to live merely for 12 years was bestowed the boon of immortality, living till the end of time. It is through this interaction between Lord Shiva and Lord Yama that Markandeya not only earns the boon of immortality, but is also taught the Mahamrityunjay Mantra by Lord Shiva. It is thus believed that the Mahamrityunjay Mantra, when recited properly, is essentially a request to Lord Shiva to save the individual from death. In recent times, it has also come to be interpreted as a solution to overcome the darkness individuals are sometimes surrounded by. A prayer for recovery from not just physical death, but also spiritual death. But the story does not end here. Rishi Markandeya, now a learned sage himself, was many years later approached by a distressed goddess Sati, Lord Shiva's wife and his spiritual companion. Goddess Sati narrated her cause for this distress. Chandra, the god of the moon, was married to all 27 daughters of King Daksha. He, however, was only in love with one of them and favored her over all the others. Upset, his 26 other wives went to their father King Daksha to complain. Angered and disappointed by Chandra's behavior, King Daksha cursed him that his body would perish. Unable to see the plight of Chandra, Goddess Sati rushed to Sage Markandeya for help. This is when Sage Markandeya taught Goddess Sati the Mahamrityunjay Mantra, a mantra then only known to himself. He instructed her to recite it with all the other learned sages of the earth, promising her that as she does so, the speed the curse takes to completely materialize might be prolonged. In the meantime, Chandra himself was fearing for his life and so rushed to Lord Shiva for his help. To save Chandra, now barely in his full beautiful form, Lord Shiva asked Chandra to take refuge in his locks of hair. This is why Lord Shiva also has a crescent-shaped moon on his head, and why he is called Chandrasekhar or Somnath, the protector of Som, the moon. Thus, according to Hindu mythology, the waxing and waning of the moon time and again is owed to none other than Lord Shiva's blessings and King Daksha's curse, respectively. So what does this story, full of its many twists and turns, really tell us about the Mahamrityunjay Mantra? For one thing, we understand that it is dedicated to Lord Shiva and that only Rishi Markandeya knows the complete mantra. This prayer is a request to Lord Shiva to try and overcome death, not just the physical death whose absence could grant immortality, but spiritual death whose presence could cause the emptiness of the soul. Thus, it's important to understand that this powerful mantra is not a prayer for immortality, because according to Lord Shiva himself, those who take birth have to die. It is a mantra to calm the turbulent soul, to soothe the fluttering inner body, and even to make peace with the idea of physical death. Also known as the Trayambaka Mantra, it is said that chanting it releases certain vibrations in the body that realigns it in a particular way, ensuring the balance and stability of good health. The Mahamrityunjay Mantra is supposed to be chanted 108 times, preferably on a Rudraksh rosary that contains 108 beads. 108 is a very significant number indeed. The numbers 1, 0, and 8 each have their own specific significance, with which the mantra's power increases exponentially. The number 1 denotes oneness, while 0 represents nothingness, and 8 represents the idea of everything. Together, they signify the reality of the universe itself. It is one, nothing, and everything, all at the same time. Vedic maths has its own analysis for the idea of 108, explaining that the number is associated with the distance between the sun and the earth, as well as the moon and the earth, which is 108 times the diameter of the sun and the moon, respectively. According to the spiritual perspective, there are 108 Upanishads or treatises in Hinduism that provides the number with its own powerful significance. Ultimately, when recited correctly, the Mahamrityunjay Mantra is said to rejuvenate, heal, and nurture the body. It is a mantra that does not act as an external force, but represents an energy within oneself that guides the body to heal and grow by reminding it of its higher purpose in life. Just as Lord Shiva does to the universe, this mantra does to the body. It destroys the negativity and establishes a fine balance. It causes the body to swell with energy, or it can center it to calmness. It can protect its core virtues as well as burn its vices to ashes. Use it wisely and use it well if you so wish to sense its power.